Meet a typical American, 34 years old, $58,000 a year, $387 in checking, $4,200 in credit card debt, 6 years of trying to save, 0 results. Now meet a postal worker in Tokyo, same age, makes $42,000 less money, more expensive city, has $23,000 in saving, same age, less income, higher costs, $23,000 saved. The difference isn't discipline, it's a system. 100 years old, savings rates 3 to 4 times higher than the average American, and Western banks are counting on you never hearing about it. My name is Bobby, and I've spent the last 3 years studying why Americans are drowning in financial anxiety while other cultures are quietly, systematically, and almost effortlessly building savings. If you're someone who makes decent money but can never figure out where it all goes, subscribe and hit that bell because this channel exists specifically for people like you. Here's the thing. We've been sold a complete lie about how saving money works. The American system tells you to earn money, spend what you need, and save whatever's left over. It sounds reasonable. It's printed in every personal finance book written in the last 50 years. Earn, spend, save the rest. And it doesn't work. It has never worked because when you save what's left over, nothing is ever left over. Life expands to consume whatever income you have. Lifestyle inflation is not a character flaw, it's basic human psychology, and the entire Western banking and consumer finance industry is built around exploiting that psychology to ensure that nothing is ever left over. Think about it. Banks profit when you spend. Credit card companies profit when you carry balances. Retailers profit when you impulse buy. Subscription services profit when you forget to cancel. Every single financial entity in your life is optimized around one goal, making sure you never accumulate savings. And they built an entire culture around it. They called it treating yourself. They called it you only live once. They called it the American dream. What they never told you is that in Japan, they call something else the foundation of financial life, and it's called Kakebo. Let me take you back to 1904, because understanding where this comes from matters. Japan, 1904, a journalist named Hani Motoko published the first Kakebo, pronounced Ka-Kabo, in a women's magazine called Fujin no Tomo, or Women's Friend. She designed it as a household financial journal for women who, at the time, managed all family finances but had 0 tools to do it systematically. The word itself breaks down simply. Cake means household. Bo means ledger. Household ledger. That's it. No apps, no algorithms, no automatic transfers. A physical book where you record every single yen that comes in and every single yen that goes out, by hand. With a pen, here's what nobody mentions. That system, invented by a woman journalist in 1904, is still used by millions of Japanese households today. It survived the Great Depression. It survived World War II. It survived the Japanese economic collapse of the 1990s. It survived the smartphone era. It's still here because it works at a level that no budgeting app has ever replicated. And Western banks have 0 interest in you knowing it exists. Because Kakebo, at its core, is designed to make you spend less and save more. That's bad for business, their business. Now here's where the math gets uncomfortable. Let me walk you through exactly what Kakebo does and why it produces results that feel almost impossible. The system starts with one question at the beginning of every month. Not, what are my expenses? Not, what can I afford? The first question is, how much do I want to save this month? You decide the savings number first, before you budget a single expense, before you plan a single purchase. The savings goal comes out of your income immediately. What's left is what you have to live on. This is the exact opposite of how Western financial culture works. We earn, we spend, we hope something is left. Kakebo earns, saves first, then lives on the rest. It sounds like a small distinction. It is not. It is the entire difference between our 3-4-year-old American with $387 in checking and our 3-4-year-old Tokyo postal worker with $23,000 in savings. A 2019 study from the OECD found that Japan's household savings rate averaged 8.1% compared to 7.9% in the US. But here's what that number hides. Japanese consumers save consistently across income levels. American savings are heavily skewed toward high earners. A middle-income Japanese household saves at rates that mirror upper-income American households. The system creates discipline that income alone never does. Let me show you what this looks like in practice on a real income. Back to our 4-year-old American making $58,000. His take-home after taxes is roughly $46,000 per year or $3,833 per month. Here's what his money probably looks like right now. Rent is $1,400. Car payment is $380. Insurance, utilities, and phone run $450. Groceries are $350. Dining out, coffee, and takeout run $420. Subscriptions, streaming, and apps are $180. Shopping, clothes, and random purchases are $380. Gas is $120. That's $3,680 per month. He's got $153 left. And then something happens. The registration is due. His phone screen cracks. His friend has a birthday dinner at a restaurant he can't really afford. The $153 disappears every month. Without fail, he's not bad with money. He's using the Western system exactly as designed. Spend first, save what's left, nothing's left. System working perfectly. Now let's apply Kakebo. Same income, same city, same cost of living. Step 1. He sits down on the first of the month and asks himself the Kakebo question. How much do I want to save this month? He writes down $500, not what he thinks he can save, what he wants to save. That number comes off the top immediately, transferred to a separate account he does not look at. He now has $3,333 to live on. Step 2. Kakebo divides all spending into 4 categories: needs, rent, utilities, groceries, transportation, wants, dining out, entertainment, shopping, culture books, museum tickets, courses, things that enrich you, unexpected car repairs, medical bills, gifts, things you didn't see coming. He allocates his $3,333 across those 4 buckets before the month starts. Not after, before. Step 3. Every single purchase gets written down by hand in the ledger, not logged in an app, written by hand. Research from Princeton University found that physical writing engages the brain differently than typing. It creates what psychologists call friction, a small moment of awareness that disrupts autopilot spending. When you write down that you spent $6.50 on a coffee, you feel it. When you tap your phone on a reader, you feel nothing. Step 4. At the end of every week, he asks 4 reflection questions. How much did I make? How much did I spend? How much did I save? How can I improve? 4 questions. Every week, 52 times a year. That is 52 moments of intentional financial reflection that the average American never has. Not once. Not in an entire year. Let me show you what happens over time. Month 1. He saves $500. Not $150. $3. $500. It's uncomfortable. He skips 2 restaurant dinners. He cancels Netflix and Hulu and keeps only 1. He makes coffee at home 4 days a week instead of 0. He saves $500. Month 3. He's adjusted. The discomfort has decreased. He pushes the goal to $600. Month 6. He's saved $3,200. He's never had $3,200 in savings in his adult life. He pushes the goal to $750. Month 12. He saved $7,800 in 1 year on a $58,000 salary. In a city where he previously saved nothing, at that rate, maintained and slightly increased over time, he hits $20,000 in savings in 2.4 years, without a raise, without a second job, without moving to a cheaper city, just by changing the order in which he interacts with his own money. Let that sink in. Here's what really gets me about this. The Western financial industry knows this works. They know it because behavioral economics research has confirmed it for decades. Pay yourself first is not a new concept in American personal finance, but there's a massive difference between reading Pay Yourself First in a chapter of a book and having a 1-2-0-year-old cultural system built around making it your default behavior. Kakebo works not because the math is complicated. The math is embarrassingly simple. It works because it changes your relationship with money at a psychological level. The physical writing makes spending conscious. The 4 categories make you confront what you actually value versus what you mindlessly consume. The monthly savings goal makes saving an intention instead of an accident. And here's the part that nobody talks about. The Japanese concept embedded in Kakebo isn't just a budgeting method. It reflects a broader philosophy called modanai, a word with no direct English translation that roughly means what a waste, or don't be wasteful. It's a cultural grief over waste, an emotional response to unnecessary consumption. Japanese households don't just avoid waste because it saves money. They avoid waste because waste is culturally considered a kind of moral failure, a disrespect for resources. That cultural value is woven into Kakebo. Every time you write down a purchase in the wants column, you're implicitly asking yourself, is this worth it? Is this modanai? Is this a waste? Americans have no equivalent cultural mechanism. We have the opposite. We have treat yourself. We have you deserve it. We have an entire marketing industry worth $320 billion annually dedicated to convincing you that buying things is self-care. Now I know what you're thinking. Bobby, this is just journaling with money. How is this different from any other budget? Here's how. Every budgeting system I've ever seen focuses on tracking what you spent. Kakebo focuses on deciding who you want to be financially before the month begins. The savings goal isn't derived from your spending. Your spending is constrained by your savings goal. The direction is completely reversed. And the second objection, Bobby, I already use an app that does all of this automatically. No, it doesn't. Automatic is the enemy of awareness. When your bank automatically rounds up purchases and transfers the difference to savings, you feel nothing. You learn nothing. You build no discipline. You're outsourcing your financial behavior to an algorithm. And the moment the algorithm stops, your behavior reverts. Kakebo builds a habit, not a dependency. Here's the thing about apps. Every major banking app, every fintech startup, every save money tool is built on a business model that requires you to keep money in their system, keep spending through their platform, and keep generating transaction data they can sell. Mint was free because your data was the product. Every smart savings feature your bank offers exists to keep you engaged with their ecosystem, not to actually build your wealth. Kakebo requires nothing from any financial institution. It requires a notebook and a pen, which is exactly why you've never seen a bank advertise it. A 2022 study published in the Journal of Consumer Psychology found that people who track spending manually, by hand, reduced their discretionary spending by an average of 16% within 60 days, without consciously trying to cut back. The awareness alone created the change. That's not a budgeting hack. That's behavioral science, and it works every time. Let me make this completely concrete. Here's how you start Kakebo tomorrow. Literally tomorrow. Buy a notebook. A simple notebook, not a special one. Not a $40 leather journal, a $3 notebook from a drugstore. Write today's date on the first page. Write your monthly take-home income at the top. Write how much you want to save this month below that. Subtract the savings number. What's left is what you have to spend. Divide that across 4 columns. Needs, wants, culture, unexpected. Every day, write down every single purchase in the right column. Every Friday, add up the columns and ask yourself the 4 questions. How much did I make? How much did I spend? How much did I save? How can I improve? That's it. That's the entire system. 120 years old. Still works. Takes 10 minutes a day. No subscription, no algorithm, no bank's permission required. But I want to slow down here because I think most people hear, write your expenses in a notebook, and their brain immediately dismisses it. It sounds too simple. Too old. To analog for 2024, and that dismissal is exactly why most people will watch this video, nod their heads, and go back to tapping their phone on a card reader without feeling a thing. So let me show you, month by month, year by year, exactly what this system does to a real human life. Not in theory, in practice, because the math is almost secondary to what actually happens psychologically when someone builds savings for the first time in their adult life. The money is almost the least interesting part of the story. Month 1, he buys the notebook, $3. He sits down on a Sunday night, which is what Kakebo practitioners call the monthly reflection, a ritual, not a chore. He writes his income at the top, $3,833. He stares at the savings line for a long time. Every previous attempt at saving, he's asked himself, what can I save? And the answer has always been shaped by fear and habit. Tonight he asks, what do I want to save? And he writes $500. It feels aggressive. It feels uncomfortable. It feels like he's setting himself up to fail the way he's always failed. He transfers $500 to a savings account he's never touched before. A separate bank, no debit card attached. He does this before he pays a single bill. He now has $3,333 to live on. He divides it across the 4 columns in his notebook. Needs get $1,950. Wants get $600. Culture gets $150. Unexpected gets $633 as a buffer. The first week is hard. He goes to buy his usual Tuesday morning latte, and he hesitates. Not because he can't afford it. He can. It's in the wants column, but he has to write it down. He has to pick up a pen, open a notebook, and physically log $6.50 in a book where he can see every other dollar he's spent this week. He buys it, but he feels it. For the first time in years, he actually feels a $6.50 purchase. By the end of week 2, something strange happens. He's not depriving himself. He hasn't gone on a ramen-only diet. He hasn't canceled everything and sat in the dark. He's just aware. He looked at the wants column on Wednesday and saw he'd already spent $310 of his $600 allocation in 14 days. So on Thursday, when his coworker suggests ordering Thai food for lunch, he says, "I brought lunch today." Not because he had to, because he checked his notebook that morning and made a decision. That is the entire mechanism. Awareness creating decision, decision creating behavior, behavior creating results. End of month 1, he saved $500. He's never done that before. He transfers nothing back. He lets it sit. Month 2, he starts the monthly reflection again. Same 4 questions. How much did I make? How much did I spend? How much did I save? How can I improve? He looks at his wants column from month 1 and notices something. He spent $84 on coffee. $84 in 1 month on coffee. He didn't know that. He had no idea. He wasn't judging himself for buying coffee. He's not going to stop buying coffee. But now he knows. And knowing changes things at a level that no app notification ever has, because he found it himself. He discovered it through his own accounting. It's his discovery, not an algorithm's alert. He sets the savings goal at $500 again. Same number. He's not ready to push it yet. This month he experiments. He makes coffee at home Monday through Thursday. He still goes out on Fridays. That single change saves him $52 over the month without any real sacrifice. It's one small behavioral adjustment made possible by one piece of information he found in his own notebook. End of month 2, he saves $553. Slightly over goal, his savings account now has $1,053. He checks the balance online, stares at it for a moment. $1,053. He's had checking accounts his entire adult life that never looked like that. Something small shifts in how he thinks about himself. Month 3, he pushes the savings goal to $600. It scares him a little, but the fear is smaller than it was in month 1. He knows now he can do $500. $600 is the next level. He looks at his unexpected column from month 2 and notices he spent $0 in unexpected expenses. He had the $633 buffer and he didn't touch it. So this month, he reallocates $200 of that buffer into additional savings. The system is teaching him his own patterns. He didn't need a financial advisor to tell him this. His notebook told him. End of month 3, he saves $640. His account has $1,693. Here's the condensed version. Month 6. He's past the hardest phase. The first 90 days are brutal because every decision is still conscious. By month 6, something has shifted. He no longer thinks about whether to write down a purchase. He just does it. The habit isn't forced anymore. He built it himself. His savings goal is $750 this month. He's been increasing it $50 to $100 every other month. The discomfort decreases each time. End of month 6, $3,890 saved. Same salary, same city, same job, one different system. But here's the part nobody talks about. Month 5 hit him with a $1,100 car repair. Transmission mount under any previous version of his financial life that goes on a credit card at 22% interest. He pays an extra $180 in interest. He tells himself, this is why saving is impossible. Life always gets in the way. This time, he paid cash. His balance dropped from $3,100 to $2,000, and he rebuilt it in 6 weeks. That moment, one emergency, zero debt, 6 weeks to recover quietly, rewired how he sees himself. He now has evidence from his own life that this works, and that evidence is worth more than the $3,890. It's the beginning of a completely different financial identity. Month 12, he does his year-end reflection. Kakebo is uniquely powerful here because you're not looking at 1 month. You're looking at 12 months of your own handwriting. Every decision, every pattern, every win in your own hand. He can see October was his worst month, fall close, and 3 birthday dinners. He'll plan for that next year. He can see his culture spending actually increased. More books, a cooking class, a photography workshop. His mindless want spending dropped. He replaced consumption with enrichment, and he didn't even plan to. The system revealed a preference he already had. Total saved in year 1, $7,800. 12 years of working. First year, he ended with more than he started with. He takes himself to a nice dinner, writes it in the notebook, eats without guilt.